Just 7 weeks to Inauguration Day, we're beginning a series of in-depth reports on the state of America in transition. And tonight, we take a closer look at immigration, an issue which has defined the Trump presidency like few others and which will soon see a dramatic change. What will become of the border wall? Will Democrats reopen the country to immigrants and asylum seekers? And is there any chance of finding hundreds of parents still separated from their children who remain in U.S. custody? Here's Devin Dwyer.
From her South Texas home, Naida Alvarez can see into Mexico, the border battle over Donald Trump's signature wall playing out in her backyard.
They make it seem that there is an invasion. If I would see immigrants crossing like crazy, my grandkids wouldn't go outside and play. I'd probably move out of here for my own safety. It's just been an over-exaggerated lie.
Alvarez has been fighting plans to build the wall just feet from her house. Painted on her roof, a stark message she hopes the incoming Biden administration will hear.
There's no crisis, no national emergency. The national emergency that we have right now is a pandemic.
As Trump prepares to leave office, his signature wall remains a divisive symbol of his immigration legacy.
Who's going to pay for the wall? 100%.
Mexico never ended up footing the bill. By one analysis, American taxpayers are on the hook for at least $10 billion in contracts over the last 3 years. More than 400 miles of new or rebuilt barrier constructed so far.
It's much more than steel and concrete going in the ground. It has lighting, access roads, and integrated technology. Again, that's part of that multi-layer strategy. It's been a game changer.
Border officials say illegal crossings have slowed to a relative trickle thanks to COVID, the recession, and President Trump's border wall.
We reduced the flow of families coming from the Northern Triangle countries, which really was the crux of the issue, by 75%.
President-elect Joe Biden says he'll move to freeze new wall construction, ending the national emergency declaration and stopping use of Pentagon funds to pay for it. He's also taking aim at Trump's so-called paper wall, the mountain of regulations aimed at limiting legal immigration. Biden promising to resume acceptance of tens of thousands of displaced refugees from just 15,000 today up to 125,000.
This is the first president in the history of the United States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before in America.
And pledging to reopen the doors to asylum seekers who are now turned away to wait in other countries.
People have, they've been in increasingly destitute situations. They've been victims of violence from the cartels. So right now, our asylum system pretty much does not exist.
And while the Trump administration ended its controversial child separation policy in 2018, the human toll of those more than 4,000 family breakups is still being felt. An estimated 545 children taken from their parents have not yet been reunited.
So it's pretty shocking that 2.5 years later, after this policy was stopped, that the government is still handing over information and we're still searching for some of these families.
Kathleen Karen is part of a network of advocates actively searching for the parents in Central America. She says President-elect Biden has promised a government task force to help find them.
These families are forever going to be harmed by this policy. We want them to come back to the United States, and then we want all the families affected by this policy to have legal status in the United States.
And after 4 years of tough talk from Trump,
we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
Biden plans to initially scale back deportations, with nearly 11 million undocumented immigrants still living in the shadows in the U.S.
Let's legalize their status. Let's make sure that they're on a path to own the American dream as citizens.
Before any path to citizenship, Democrats say a first priority is shoring up protections for recipients of DACA, the program Trump tried to kill, but the Supreme Court saved for now.
My head's obviously in my immigration status, the likelihood of me, being deported.
Houston EMT Jesus Contreras, one of an estimated 27,000 DACA recipients on the front lines of the pandemic.
I think I've established my life here in the United States, and I've been here for the majority of my life. And for me to potentially be sent back home to Mexico, quote unquote home, would be devastating not only to me, but to my community, my employer, my family, my friends.
Meantime, immigration hardliners are warning a rollback of Trump policies will have dire consequences.
If you reward the behavior of those coming across illegally, it's going to keep happening.
They say moves like Biden's plan to rescind Trump's travel bans on predominantly Muslim countries poses a security risk, and that expanding visas for foreign workers will only make it harder for out-of-work Americans to find jobs.
The critics now, they say day one, they want to undo all of it. If you do that, mark my words, last year's crisis is going to look like child's play with respect to what's going to happen.
President Trump wants us to be talking about the wall. We as a nation need to be talking about our immigration system. Without immigrants, we would not have the scientists who are developing the vaccines, nor would we have those who are caring for our elderly in nursing homes.
On the front lines of the debate, Naida Alvarez says the transition in Washington is a chance for both sides to refocus on what's important.
People have to wait 6 to 12 hours at a food bank in line to get a box of food. You go get a COVID test and you have to wait 3 hours for a COVID test. Mind you, I think the wall should be on the last thing on people's minds right now.
For ABC News Live, I'm Devin Dwyer in Washington.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.